welcome on stage. On your left is Hanna Heinonen. She's information designer and user at KONE, right?
Yes.
And to your right, Petri Ahola. He's senior information designer also at KONE. Welcome and a big applause.
A really short introduction, so welcome all. I've been in tech comms forever, even though I'm like 20s, but I've been doing quite a lot, so writing, illustrating, all that. I'm more into information design now and more at the delivery end, but doing quite a lot of development of the CMS, of the writing, of that side. I'm also a student at the University of Tampere, so doing my PhD in interactive technology. So trying to figure out ways how we can utilize tech comms in XR applications.
Yes, and my name is Petri Ahola, and I've also been in the business forever. I guess minus 1 year compared to Hanna, but anyway. We have kind of similar backgrounds, so I've started as a technical writer actually, so from the ground level, and today I work as an information designer, and for Acrolinx I'm actually the Acrolinx administrator at KONE, so I'm the one who is playing with the Acrolinx dashboard and adjusting the guidelines and so on. And I'm actually also a student, so currently BA, but I'm working on my MA. So. Little bit behind her again.
Alrighty, short introduction for KONE Corporation. Everybody's been using our products. So we do elevators, escalators, building doors, stuff that you don't even realize that are there unless they're not working. So our main task is to create installation, maintenance information for those, so that we can keep you guys going. Old company, family-owned company, so 100 years already. We're around 60,000 employees, global setting, so I think we only have like 2,000 in Finland, and rest of the personnel is spread all over the world. Quite a lot of customers, quite a lot of sales. I'm not a salesperson, so I'm not going to go into that, but there are some key figures there. But what is interesting for me is the typical working day for KONE. So we have quite a lot of business. We have over 1 million units in service every day. We have 400 to 500 new orders booked every day. So basically somebody's selling a new elevator every single time you blink your eyes. Traditionally, this was, let's say, very mechanical business. We would build an elevator, somebody would install it, and then a maintenance guy would go and fix it. If he didn't know how to do it, he could call his friend. He would probably know how to do it. Supervisor could tell everybody. So it was an easy business in a way that we could just produce an owner's manual, maintenance manual, print it out, and leave it at the machine room, for example. It's a different setup now as we're bringing in software, quite a lot of equipment, so we don't have anybody to call, so we needed to do this more efficiently. So we've done quite a lot in the past 5 years, I think.
Yeah. This is always something that strikes me every time I see this. So this is not yearly, it's not monthly, it's not weekly, it's daily. And these are actually our customers as far as content creation goes. Yes. So for these people, we make our content.
Yes, it's mainly internal customers, trying to make operations smooth and efficient. This is our tech documentation setup. So we have the global, let's say where we are coming from. That's in Hyvinkää, Finland, near Helsinki. And then we have operations in China, India, and in the US. So we work in a global setting, trying to figure out how to reuse stuff globally, how to figure out those difficult product names that are almost the same globally. You know the challenges. We have around 70 authors creating content globally.
And here you have to understand that this 70%, it's not that much if you compare it to the size of the company, but we are only talking about now technical documentation, so technical content, not marketing, not sales.
Not training.
So it's just the installation, maintenance, and so on, very technical
Tech
content.
writing. And to make it more exciting, we have quite a lot of stuff going on, so it's not only PDFs, as I mentioned. So we are pushing the same information to the laptop. Yes, you can still get the PDF out if you want, but we're pushing that to the laptops, to the mobile phones, and tablets. And as I said, we're doing quite a lot of XR also. So we've been doing proof of concepts on how to utilize the same information on the field using smart glasses. So that brings another challenge also writing-wise. So we'll go more into detail about that when we are talking about how we utilize Acrolinx. But that's a total different setup than writing like the full-length PDF. All right, setting up the process. This was the authoring assistance in 2015. So KONE has a really long tradition of collecting terms. KONE has been really good at actually doing that. So harvesting terms manually, but people have been suggesting terms. We've been building a database, so I think it's been ongoing for 15 years already.
Something like that, yeah. Even more.
So quite a lot of terms. We used it's called MOT. It's just a database, like dictionary-based system. So you could go in there, select there are 3 domains: elevators, escalators, building doors. So you could select your domain and go and see if the term is in there. If it's not an accepted term, so for example, in my screenshot here, if you're looking for hoistway, it tells you that it is to be replaced with elevator shaft. So it does have both terms and anti-terms, deprecated terms in it. Then we also had a really nice and detailed style guide, quite a lot of pages. It went into detail about when to use the N dash, when to use the M dash, how to use fractions, all that details that are really, really important and nobody actually cared about. So,
or remembered.
Yes, so it was a manual process. You would have to recognize that there's a styling issue here, go into the PDF and find the issue if it's there, and then see what the styling for it is. And then we also had a writer's guide, illustrator's guide, so 2 more PDFs, but these are just like technical details on how to publish and do that. But this is like the authoring assistance. We were also using different databases, different repositories for all the sites, so we didn't do any global reuse at that time. The reuse was such that we would copy and paste for others from other content. So. All right, in 2050, at the end of the year, we decided that this is not going to work out anymore. We wanted to go global, and we wanted to automate that process to get rid of some problems, lots of problems that we had. So we selected Acrolinx as the service provider for our authoring assistance, and these were the 3 initial goals that we wanted to tackle with the software. So quality. There were lots of problems with the spelling of product names, you name it, all kinds of content. We have non-native speakers creating most of the content in Asia. Really small team in the US, and no time for any native peer reviews. We wanted to do consistency, so we have a really limited set of safety-related issues that were set in like million different ways. So you can go into the bit, or you can enter the bit, or you can enter whatever, I don't even know. There were like so many of these. So you would tell the same thing in million different ways. And as we also at this point went into XML, into one CMS, and started doing global reuse, we wanted to establish common standards for the whole writing community. And of course, because we had been working in different databases, that meant that we actually needed to go and establish those rules. But we wanted it to be as, let's say, not so painful. So we decided that Acrolinx is going to be the key to resolving all these problems.
So to summarize this bluntly, I think we had different locations, USA, Finland, India,
Yes.
China, but we were not talking to each other. We were creating
Yes.
different
Yes.
content. It was not like that, but nearly.
Nearly. All right, we started then setting up Acrolinx. We had that nice style guide, so lots and lots of rules. So what we did, we reviewed that style guide and picked out the most important styles that we wanted to implement. We didn't want to go all the way there because then we would end up with like millions and millions of rules and nobody could tell what is affecting what. So we wanted to go with like a limited set of rules first. And we globally reviewed those rules and then in cooperation with Acrolinx converted those to rules in the software. Out of the box grammar rules were reviewed by our team. I think we left everything as it is at that point. Terms, as I said, we have had an extensive database of terms already, so you can see that we have around 10,000 terms, most on the elevator side. Also something in different languages. We implemented the English terms only. We have two source languages, English and Chinese. Chinese is like a really, really small fraction of what we do, so we haven't even gone into Chinese checking yet. But English was implemented. All these terms were uploaded with their deprecated versions, and even the pictures that we had in the old dictionary were uploaded into the Acrolinx server. Then we had the administrator training by Acrolinx, and at that point I was the admin for the Acrolinx. I kind of ended up with that because I'm usually the one doing all the IT stuff on our department. It became quite clear that I didn't have enough time for that at some point. So then we set the proper system. But I was kind of like handling it with my left foot kind of thing. But Acrolinx helped quite a lot with this initial setup. So we were learning by doing. From the beginning on, we had two servers. So we have a production server and then the QA. So we can always validate whatever we do in the QA. We can do any experiments there without affecting the global setup. And that is still in place today. I highly recommend that if you are not using that, that is a good way to go. Then the official rollout. We started collecting baseline data, February 2017. We didn't set any rules then. It wasn't mandatory for the riders. We advertised it quite a lot. We recommended everybody to use it, but we didn't make it mandatory at that point. But we were, let's say, in private, we were monitoring who is using it and who's not. So mainly on the which sites are using it on that level. And if like a site is not using it, then we would go and recommend that you might want to try this out. It might make your life easier. We didn't have any target KPIs set at that point. We wanted to get like a baseline data of where we were at that point, so we could make like an informed decision on where we want to be. So we were thinking like if we are at like 40, scores would be like at 40. It wouldn't be really motivating for the users if we set up like a target score of 85 for them. So we wanted to see where we are. We ended up with the average score of 76. That sounds actually kind of better than what the content was at that point because we had a limited set of rules only. But that would tell that some kind of data was there at that point. Guidelines were very simple, and we had a really simple analytics in use at that point. Basically, who is using it and who is not, and what kind of problems there are. Those would be monitored, but nothing at that point. So I realized that I would not have no time for this like developing this further or doing that. So even though it was really interesting, I come from a linguistic background, so it was really interesting, but no time for that because I decided I'm not going to do that on Sundays. So that's when we had a talk with our management or global manager, and we decided to hand this over to Petri, so he could start actually really developing it instead of doing the whatever it was at that point. So Petri can continue and explain what he started doing.
Yeah. So yeah. So like Hanna said, unfortunately we had to let her go to do some more development for our company. She's our guru. So somebody else had to, take responsibility of this, and we were in kind of situation that okay, we have this, we have purchased this, we have set it up, and now what? I think somebody already mentioned that it costs some money, right? So we might make some use of it. So basically, we had the system, but like Hanna mentioned, it was not mandatory to use it, and it was already said in a couple of presentations. I think Gunnar said it that if it's just a menu selection somewhere, nobody will find it. So we have to start promoting it, and hey, we have this, let's use this. And the person who is actually playing with the dashboard and setting all the rules, Hanna mentioned that we started out with very simple rules. So of course those had to be developed further. But the person who is playing with the dashboard, and now we are talking about me, and I also have other responsibilities in the company. So I'm not able to write myself anymore that much. Sometimes I do, but most of the times not. So the kind of, let's say, feedback what is working and what is not working regarding the guidelines had to come from somewhere else. So I cannot invent them myself. So we decided with the management that yes, we want to continue the rollout, and then we want to set up some kind of system how this will work. And I was fascinated when I was watching the Volvo presentation just a moment ago. We haven't been talking to each other, but the system is quite close. So let's see. This is a very simplified setup that we are now using to administer Acrolinx. So we had already before Acrolinx, we had different teams inside our technical documentation organization. We had a writer team, we had a terminology team, and we also had illustration team, but so far they haven't participated to Acrolinx. But anyway, we had these teams already. And of course, actually the highlight here is that we have the global setup: USA, Finland, India, China. So each of these teams consists of a representative from each location, so we can get equal, amount of opinions and feedback. So there are basically 4 persons per team, and then everybody else who is writing content orders, they can basically contact their local key person and take their ideas through that person. And of course, the technical writing team is responsible for keeping the style guide up. And by doing that, this team directly influences the Acrolinx guidelines and how they are set up. So if there's a problem with a card or flag or whatever, so the writer team picks it up, handles it, makes the decisions, and then I am this guy here, so I'm the proud owner. So I'm the one who then gets to implement the decision. And I'm also leading the writing team. So I'm also owner of that team. So that gives me kind of double role, so I can control what the decisions are, and then I know how Acrolinx behaves, what kind of rules I can take there and what not. So it works together with the style guide work. So this is the setup from the writing team point of view. Then we have a separate team for terminology, which I am technically not part of that team, but this work inside the Acrolinx box, it's closing each other all the time. So I'm actually ending up doing more term changes in Acrolinx all the time. So, but the terminology team, of course, they decide the terms, and you know how this side of the things goes. And we have, I'm not the only admin. Hanna is still the admin, so if there's a big problem, we can use her. And then also the terminology lead is an admin in Acrolinx, so she can still take in the new terms. And that's how we have actually set it up. So if there's new terminology, the terminology lead will take it to Acrolinx. If there's something to tweak with the Acrolinx cards with terms, I will end up doing it.
And this also enables us to work during the holidays, so we can back up each other. So that is the preferred way of doing it at our department. Yeah.
So this is our setup, described in a simple way. Then I mentioned that I'm not writing myself so much anymore, so I need a channel for feedback. And this is our subjective first version of that channel. It might be something else. This is what we started with. So we just have a discussion thread where we collect all the things that the writers find with Acrolinx guidelines, and they report it, and then I take it up to the technical writing team or to the terminology team. Then we decide and implement. And then what we implement, we have a feedback loop back to the writers, which is I'm hosting info sessions for all of our writers, basically 4 times per year, more often if needed. This is something we will develop further. The discussion forum is not the best idea, believe me. It will get out of hand. So something more professional is needed here. Okay, then let's switch the subject a little bit. We have the setup now, but then we wanted to motivate the orders. We wanted to get more users. We wanted to get more checks. So how to do it? Again, very highly subjective. Our first take on this. So you may think this is right, you may think this is wrong, but this is what we did. So we selected 2. The average score that Acrolinx gives, really simple, as a common global target, not per individual, not per team, not per location, but for everybody. It's a common average score. For 2018, we set the target to 79. We achieved it. For this year, we raised the bar to 85, and looks like that we are achieving that as well. Then the second thing, which I'm actually quite happy at the moment that we selected, we selected number of checks. So for 70 riders, for last year, we decided that we want 15,000 checks altogether. And we achieved it. And for this year, we raised the bar to 20,000. And looks like that we are going to achieve it. There's a catch. People get money by reaching these goals. So it's a bonus target.
We were also excited to see the gamification thing on the roadmap, because I told Petri that I'm going to start writing because I want to be at the top of the leaderboard.
That's correct. And if you think about 20,000 checks per year for 70 riders, I'm a humanist, but if I do the math, it's maybe 1 check a day per 1 order. So it's not much. So we might end up raising the bar even more. It's not that much. It sounds good, but it's not that much. And this is a good way to boost, let's say, the data collection as well. So you get a lot of checks. And this is something that we will think about next. Yes. So we are now getting data. We are getting 20,000 checks per year, a lot of data.
But we are trying to set the target so that they can reach it, so that motivates them. So if you double the target, that might seem like too much, and then they kind of give up. But if you give it like it's within the reach, then it's easier. Yeah. We're not in a hurry, so we can spend a couple of years developing this.
Yeah. So this is basically the analysis of what you saw on the last slide. So again, our highly subjective takes on this. So we set up common targets, global targets. Everybody had the same target. So that seems to be working for us. It increases the checking activity. And of course, the consistency, but that you know already. But what I was personally surprised that I mentioned that we have the forum for collecting the errors. So it has actually boosted internal communication between our location. I mentioned before that we didn't talk to each other a couple of years ago. Now we are talking. So somehow this system is increasing communication because people want to participate and they want to raise the average score together and get the checks
done. There seems to be like a sense of community, which we didn't have before.
Yeah, because everybody benefits, because there was money involved. That's not the point of this presentation, you can forget about it. Then some other observation. Let's say that it just happened. I don't mention any names or anything, but at some of our organization, there was a decision that they wanted to start following individual orders. What's their score? And then the game changed, in my opinion. So I started getting feedback that why am I being punished by Acrolinx? Why is the score like this? Why I cannot score 100? So why is it giving me these flags? Because even though I'm correct, and yes, that's good feedback still, yeah. Acrolinx can never catch everything because we are getting new product names. It cannot know those beforehand, of course. So that's why score 100 is not really worth, achieving. So this is something we have to work on. So this is our subjective take on this. I don't know if you have had this. So this is the kind of big brother thing we heard yesterday, I think. So for us, not so good.
I think Petri and I were not really into looking individual riders and their scores. We want to see like the global average, medium, like where we are. We don't care about one single topic or one single rider. So it's more about the global consistency.
Yeah. We can say it was not me, it was not Hannah, no. It was not my manager, I'm not the location manager, it was somebody else. It actually was, yeah. So, what's next? So this is where we are now, right now. So we have these two objectives, KPIs that we have been following. We are quite happy with them. But of course, the number of checks, can it actually grow every year? Well, it depends. How many orders you have, it depends on many things. Yeah, you can raise it. And I think we will probably have it in one form or another. We can do nice mathematic graphs, how many orders we have and what we have achieved last year and so on. Probably we'll keep it. And as I already mentioned, the average score, I think it cannot go up all the time. There must be some kind of limit. Maybe some of you know it already. We don't. But in my personal opinion, 100 is not really realistic because there are new things all the time. And the harder, or let's not say harder, but more advanced the guidelines are, the more difficult it gets for the orders to get a good score, which is correct, actually. So there's nothing wrong with it. So we have been throwing around ideas that maybe we'll go into team-based scores. We have the different locations. But then considering the Big Brother effect, let's see. Yesterday I heard some interesting things about, for example, about the findability. We have been discussing that with Acrolinx support with Lindsay and James already. So we know that there's findability, but we haven't been using that. But the way the modern world goes, everything goes to web, it has to be findable. We are also already there. So that might be something that we will take up. So something, let's say, more refined analytics. Because these are really easy takes, average score and number of checks. But they seem to be working.
And also, as Petri and I, we will be doing our research this winter and continuing. So what we are really, we're going to do quite a lot of test content to see how that would work on small screens. and different media. So what I would like to do is to develop like a set of Acrolinx rules for that to see how that could improve, because we have a, let's say, restricted number of words in a sentence, but that would of course need to be smaller on the small screens. And also maybe we could restrict longer words so that we could restrict the number of letters in a word, kind of thing. That would help us so that we wouldn't have to go, counting the words when we are doing that development for the XR and small screens. So that offers some exciting possibilities to automate that. So we will probably be discussing that with Petri. He's nodding because I haven't really talked with him about this yet, but now he knows.
But you have.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it yesterday.
Yeah, we are actually finishing. I'm finishing. She's continuing her studies,
Yes.
and we actually are launching into this area with our studies at the university. So.
But we're looking for ways to utilize Acrolinx there as well, so that we don't have to do it manually. We don't like counting words, so.
For the students?
For our research, and then we'll be doing usability tests to see how that works and if it works.
Okay, but I think this is it. So time for questions. Anybody else?
Time for applause. Thank you, Petri and Hanna.